you this question because I know we talked about brotherhood, but you also talked about how on your last year, upon you thought your social media would carry you to the league.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about social media now and how high school athletes coming into college are kind of turning into more me than we. What would be
Mm-hmm.
your advice to a student athlete coming into a team focusing on themselves? What would you tell them before they walk into that locker room in college?
I would say you better realize real quick that it is now a business and everyone is replaceable no matter who you are.
Mm.
Like when I love Casey to death, but when Casey went down, what'd they go do? They went and got his backup at the same high school that he went to that broke all his records and brought him in.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever Traquan was done, what they do? They brought in 4 other receivers to try to go break his records and to try to throw his stats under the bus. Like it's a business, In 3 to 4 years, whoever's starting at that time is going to be forgotten. Like it is what it is. It is a revolving door business. So for me, in thinking that social media means something more than what it actually does at the time, it hindered me. I fell into the trap of thinking that this will carry me, not what's happening on the field, but what's happening in my cell phone in my hands. That's what's going to get me there. At the end of the day, you have to play. If you don't play, you don't, there's no more dream. There's no next step. And so I think when let's say a freshman gets to college, you better realize real quick, you are now an 18-year-old kid competing with 22, 23-year-old men who some have children, some have families, and you're not at the same level that these dudes are who are 5 years older than you, who have had 5 more years of testosterone pumped into them, who have been 4 or 5 years into a college weightlifting program. Like you're the bottom of the totem pole, big guy, and you have one summer and a spring to show that you belong in college football, or else you stay at the bottom of the totem pole. You'll never see playing time. And I think people like these kids need to realize, like, it's what you see on Saturdays is the culmination of a lot of hard work and a lot of time studying tape and a lot of time doing the little extra things to get your 4 or 5 plays on the offense, on the defense, or if not, you're going to be on the special teams fighting week in and week out to keep your spot on that special team.
Mm-hmm.
And these kids need to realize real quick, these coaches love you during recruitment, but once you get there, you're a number and you can and will be replaced if you don't meet the expectations. Like they have, no matter who the coach is, like college football's dirty. And I wish it would get not exploited into the media, but people have like a real understanding of what college athletics is. It's a $1 billion business to where the college athletes don't really see any of that $1 billion. They get to see the buildings and the uniforms, and here's your stipend check twice every semester to keep your mouth shut. They're saying that we're giving you a piece of the cheese, but it's a $1 billion business, and us as athletes, we're a dime a dozen. If we don't work out, okay, pull a scholarship, bring someone else in. That's how it works. That's how it is. It's dirty, but it is what it is, So when you come in as a freshman, be on your P's and Q's. You watch the guy who is the number 1 top dog, and you get in his hip pocket and you emulate whatever he does. If he goes and watches film, you be there. You pester him. Learn whatever you can from that guy. So especially if you're a walk-on, because now instead of having a spring and a summer camp, you may have 2 or 3 reps at the beginning of spring whenever special team starts to show that you're an athlete and you can play at a D1 level. And then once you get on that special teams, now they got to try to find a way to wiggle you into the offensive or defensive depth chart to pull you onto the travel bus and not leave your skinny little tail back at the weight room at 8 a.m. in the morning on a Friday. Like it's cutthroat, but it is what it is. You better come and be ready to execute at some certain level, or else you're going to be bottom of the totem pole for the rest of your college career.
Yeah, Mac, you just laid out a whole bunch of gems for the people, and like that's, you bring up such a good point. Like it's cyclical. Like each spring or each summer or fall camp, if you're not that guy, if you're not already having a position, you have only a few reps, and if you don't show improvement those few reps, you're gonna wait until spring, or if it's spring, you're gonna wait until the next camp, because they don't have time to like keep playing with you and give you reps and stuff. Like once their mind is made up of you, For
So
the
Straight
next
up.
for the
it's
next
over.
6 months on, that's who you are.
Yeah.
So you have to be ready at all times, whether it's a special teams rep or like on offense or defense. Like, back when I was a fourth string or third string, I'd get maybe 6 reps a whole practice.
Yeah.
And if those were perfect, next practice I might get 8, might get 10, then I might get 12. But you mess up one of them, you're
Ah,
done. You're
yeah.
out.
You're done, Ace. You can't play. Can't play. Can't play. Coach
Can't
Walters
play.
would say, can't play.
Can't play. And
Can't play.
for the viewers and listeners at home, when Tristan says he only got 6 reps, that's 6 reps out of 120 reps in the practice. So they're very, very, very limited. So count your blessings if you get 1 rep, honestly. There's guys that are on the field that are the bottom depth chart that get no reps. They don't even get looked at or thought about.
Let's see, there's 85 scholarship players on a D1 college football team, and then there's another 25, 30 walk-ons and they're all competing for 128 reps. So I mean, there's not enough reps to go around, It is what it is.
Do the math.
And then from there, like, you could be on scholarship and never see the field too.
There's a ton of guys that happens to.
Yeah, on offense, defense, special teams, you can only have 11 at one time playing.
Yeah.
Travel squad, as we know, it's too deep, and then maybe a handful of extra guys who are just special teams guys.
Yeah.
So you're looking at 50 to 60 guys max. That's less than half the squad sometimes.
Yeah.
There's
high school teams that travel more kids to games, man.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like
and in the NFL, now it's 53 guys in the NFL. So it goes from your 85 scholarship limit, now it's 53. That's and it's wild. And if you don't play, you're probably not going to get paid that much longer if you don't play.
Exactly.
It is what it is.
Like you said, Mac, it's a business, and I'm glad I asked you that question because I know you're a straight shooter and you're going to tell it straighter than anybody I know. And if there's anyone to listen to or anything you just said out of this podcast, that's important right there because it is such a business, and people, like you said, they see the lights, the cameras, the social media. But behind that, when you close the doors, we're all in the building, it's strictly business. We've seen plenty of people that know should play, don't play. We've seen plenty of people leave, quit, transfer. It's a circle, and we end up forgetting them, even though they were our teammates. We end up forgetting them by just another guy cycled in, and it's not on purpose. But like you said, it's the business how it works. It's crazy.
It's how it goes.
And
I'll never forget I'm not going to say the coach's name because I don't want to put him out there, but he was a weight coach with O'Leary. And it was like one of our first Fridays, I think. He goes, boys, recruiting's a lot like foreplay. Everything feels good. It's nice. But now that you're here, it's time to get it on. And like when he said that, I kind of made me like click in my mind, like, oh, this is really about to go down. And it was one of the worst workouts I ever had to be a part of. But it was just like, yeah, now that you're here, you're ours. We can do what we want. So let's get after it.
Straight up. I remember that. But to that point, like, it is a business, and you cannot take it personal. You can't, because what happens is, coming out of high school, we're all that guy. We're all the man. Or we're all the woman that we did all the sports. We did everything. We were that person. And
everyone's all state. Everyone's all region. Everyone's all sectional, whatever it is. And then on that college team. And now it's
and now we're not playing, but we make the mistake of tying our value and our identity towards playing time or coaches liking us or scoring or just playing a lot. And when that doesn't happen, sometimes as student athletes, we look at our value as less than, or our identity as taken or less than. And that's the mistake we need to change, because these are two separate things. Yes, that is a part of you, but that's not the only reason why you're at this school. That's not the only reason why you're playing football. So that's one of the main messages me and Mike try to pound home is figure out what else it is about you that makes you special. And how can you amplify that through your platform as a student athlete?
Yeah, because athletics ends at some point for everyone, whether if your last snap is in high school, if your last snap is in college, or if you get to go on and play 3 years in the NFL, which is like above average for the most part. I think the average NFL career is like 2 years and 4 games or something like that. And like no one really lasts past 5 years, to be honest. But if you get to have a 5+ year career in the NFL, like you're one of the very few. But football is going to end sooner or later, and you better have at least some type of idea what you want to do once you play your last snap, to be honest. Don't get caught up in the limelight of being a college athlete, because to be honest, it ain't all that great. Every little move you make is going to be criticized, and it's not worth it. I'll never forget, I went to a camp after college out in Texas, a showcase camp, and talked to a scout for the Bills, and he asked me if I had an alcohol problem. I go, no. I mean, I enjoy beer every now and then, but I'm not an alcoholic. And he goes, so like the whole like shotgunning beer celebration, all that stuff like that, that's not a true reflection of you. I was like, no, it was just something that people kind of enjoyed, and it's a character for the most part. It's not truly who I am. Like I don't depend on alcohol to get me through the day or anything, but social media, it blew it up and made it seem what real life really is, when that ain't really what's up with me. I mean, it is what it is, but I had that, I guess that's what I'm looking for. I guess that image of being this
persona,
alcoholic specialist, I guess. Yeah, that persona, but that wasn't really who I was, but I let social media make me into that, sadly. And now it's trying to dig myself out of that and showing that I mean business when I'm on that field. Yeah, it's fun, but I'm there to get the job done when I'm out there.
Yeah, it's a tough balance between being yourself and being your true self, which you were on the field all the time, but also college is a business. Social media runs like a business. You make that wrong move, one mistake, they will tag you as that person for the rest of your life, even if that's not you. Like you just said yourself. Coach said, are you alcoholic? I'm not, but social media puts you in that category. They pushed you in that just because it can get them some likes and some hits, not caring about what it does to you in the future. And like I said, the nature of the beast is how the game goes. So we got to find a balance of finding our true identity and being ourselves and showing that on the field, but also knowing we're under a magnifying glass. Anything we do will be thrown back in our face, no matter what it is. And it's a tough position to be in. Athletics, especially,
and it will be taken out of context 9 times out of 10.
Easy. 11 out of 10. College athletics is not an easy thing to be in. It's only for the strong. And I think nowadays the culture is changing to where, especially with the transfer portal, people are in and out, and it's hurting people in the long run. Like, even for example, if Keem were to leave, like, honestly, he should have, but he stuck it out, and now look at him, he's successful. But a lot of people nowadays don't have the fight because social media is so prevalent, and whatever looks good and flashy, kids jump to it. And I think that's the problem we're starting to have now. It's what we're trying to fight and combat, me and Tristan. And having you being a straight shooter, saying on the podcast, is the best thing kids can listen to, is coming from someone who's done it, lived it, in it right now. That's the most important thing. And then we definitely appreciate you sharing the knowledge, because like I said, you've been there, you've done that. We've been together. We've been from 0-12 to undefeated. We know exactly what it's like. So we definitely appreciate everything you said, man.
Hey, man, no problem. So I would gain nothing by lying to these kids. I mean, someone's got to tell them the truth sooner or later, and whether they choose to listen or not, that's up to them. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. So I'm going to tell them how it is. Same way I coached at the high school last year. I let them know, like, everything's cool here at the high school. Like, you can be all buddy with these coaches. And we had kids who signed to ECU, Clemson, Georgia. Like, I mean, they were dudes, but like, you better realize, like, once you're there, you have your freshman camp and you have spring to show that you can play college ball. If you don't take advantage of those opportunities, the next recruiting cycle is getting put above you right then. You're no longer the top dog at this school. I don't care if you're 6'5", 310, 6'1", run a 4.3 40. Like, they'll find somebody to replace you. They won't hesitate to do it.
They'll go get 3 more just like it.
Yep. Especially at Georgia and Clemson.
Right. One of them's going to pan out.